Hey, what's up, guys? It's JB back again with another video. This is basically my second video. I created my other video on how to create a YouTube channel in 2024. It was my very first video. I'm very new to this, so if you're watching this and you subscribed already, I really do appreciate it. If you haven't, please go ahead and subscribe. Follow me in this journey. I'm pretty new to this and I want to see where it goes. And like I mentioned on my previous video, today I want to talk about a book that I've been reading. I've read this book before multiple times, but I decided to reread it and share some of the things that I've learned through this book. I'm not going to talk about the whole book. I want to talk about one particular chapter, and in future videos I'll talk about other chapters. I won't talk about the whole book, but I'll talk about several chapters that really impacted me in my life and my relationship with my family, my friends, and girlfriends as well. So I'll be talking about that. And well, to introduce you with the book is The Mastery of Love. I have the Spanish version because I like the Spanish one. So I read it in Spanish, and that's the only one that I have. I don't have the one in English, but it's called The Mastery of Love. And it like it says on the title, it's really just a guide to find self-love so that you can give the love to everybody else, which will eventually help you out with your relationships with everybody that surrounds you and everybody that you invite in your life. I did write some pointers about this particular chapter that I read, or that I'm going to talk about right now. So basically the chapter starts off saying how we basically categorize people as soon as we meet them. We right away we see someone, we automatically think, oh well, you're probably this, or you're probably going to be this and that. So that's kind of how it starts, and that's mostly because we keep practicing categorizing people, because at the end of the day we also categorize ourselves. We become something that is going to project an image towards a certain person that we want to connect with, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but that's pretty much what we kind of practice, kind of categorizing people. We also practice how to get away with stuff and how to become what we are not. That's kind of how the book starts, or the chapter of the book starts. It does say, for example, like when you're a kid, and how do you get away with stuff? You usually, throw a tantrum or get mad, and then, little by little, your parents start giving you what you want, what you're asking for, because they don't want to deal with that. So, and you see it happening a lot with parents nowadays as well. Their kids act up, and then all of a sudden they get whatever they want. So the kids grow up doing that, and that's also, that's pretty much how we all been growing up. That's how we also become masters of jealousy, become masters of fear, anger, and self-rejection, because we encourage the jealousy in our lives. We encourage fear and anger and self-rejection and everything. We encourage it in our lives, so we practice it. Once you encourage it in your life, you just keep practicing it, and that's how you become better at it, which is a horrible thing to do for yourself, because now you're letting jealousy into your life, and now you're going to start projecting that towards everybody else, because really what you project towards everybody. You can tell, or you can say that you're not something, but the reality is you're projecting it to others, and that's what others are going to believe. So that's kind of how the book starts, and it also mentions how we should start practicing it for love instead, because if we start projecting love towards ourselves and love towards everybody else, then that's exactly what we're also going to get back. So again, that's kind of how the book starts, but then it goes into a very interesting point of view. I really like this point of view. It's about how we've been basically living in a world where we are infected with a very horrible disease, and we were not born with it, and I'll talk about that right now. But I think I really like the fact that it creates this different image, and it makes us imagine that we live in a world where there's no, well, we live in a world where our skin is full of venom, and it's infected, and every time we touch our skin, it hurts. And every time we touch anybody else's skin, it hurts them. So naturally, what's gonna happen is if you're getting hurt by somebody touching you, or you touching somebody else and somebody's getting hurt, we're gonna end up getting mad. We're gonna end up, projecting the anger and all the negativity in it. So basically, it's asking us to imagine that we live in a world where like our skin is completely wounded, and it hurts us all the time. And it's basically normal to live like that in this world, in this imaginary world. It's normal to live like that because it says on books, according to this imaginary world, it says on books that there's no cure. It's normal. We live with it and we just deal with it. So then it transitions to the real world, which is where we actually live with a disease like that. It might not be a skin disease, but it's an emotional disease, and the disease is called fear. So we're basically full of fear, and it's normal to be fearful. It's normal because it says, psychologists say that it's normal. People, because they've been living through it, all the people from the past, in generations past, they've been living with it. So it's like everybody has it. Everybody is gonna have the fear, so it's okay to be fearful, and that's not the way it should be. It's kind of what the book says. Okay, so for example, when somebody says you're being hurtful, or I don't like what you're doing, or basically it's like considering the imaginary world with the wounds in our skin. Basically, what it's kind of saying is, every time someone says you're being hurtful, you're hurting me, I don't like it, you're kind of touching those wounds. Obviously, it's an emotional wound, so you're kind of just feeding into the fear that we already have by when you say that. So it's our fear projecting through ourselves. And then I like, it says how it's how to imagine that there's no more fear in you. Like, imagine living in a world where everybody's fearful, but except you yourself. So how would you act? How would people see you? It talks about how it be like that, and then going back to the imaginary world, how would it be if you're the only one that has no wounds on your skin? Anybody can touch you, it doesn't hurt you, but the thing is, nobody does, because they think that they're gonna hurt you, so they don't get close to you, or you don't touch them, because it's gonna hurt them. Okay, so it goes back to the being fearfulness, and the emotional wounds that we grow up with. Nobody's gonna, if you're not fearful, they're still gonna be trying to protect you, because they're gonna think that you're still fearful, even if you're not. So because we live in a world where it's full of fear, and you're not gonna say anything to them because they are fearful. So that's how a world without fear within yourself would be like, even though everybody else goes through that. So I think the more we can provide a message of fear is the root of all negative emotions, the more we can talk about it with other people, I think the more we can help them, and also be better with everybody else around us. Let's see, another thing that the book says is that we're basically born without fear. And if you think about it, when we're kids, the little kids, they don't really have any sort of fears when it comes to thinking about what happened in the past, thinking about what happened in the future. Think about a little kid that's playing around and then they fall and they get hurt. They're probably gonna cry a little bit. It's gonna hurt them, but with a little bit of attention that they get, they're gonna be okay. And what happens as soon as they get up and they're okay, they stop crying. What do? They go back and they start playing again. So, and they stop thinking about, oh, I fell and it changed my whole life, because the reality is it didn't. It was just a little fall. The kid came up, and now the kid is not thinking about, oh, what if I fall again? What if I do this? No, they're just going back and playing. That's all it is. So we are basically born without that fear, but the thing is that fear is transferred through us to us through society. And how does that happen? Well, first of all, we need to feel accepted by our parents. So we start doing things that we don't really want to do, but that's what they expect. So we start doing it. We need to start feeling accepted by our friends, by professors, by other teachers, by anybody else in the family, or anybody really. So you want to feel accepted. So now that fear of not being accepted starts to build in. So, and that's why in the book it says how when you're a little kid, you pretty much have no emotional wounds or skin wounds, whatever picture you want to see. But then as you start growing up, when you're maybe 4 or 5 years older, you start developing those, and by the time you're a teenager, which is probably one of the hardest times for people, the teenage years, they're full of those emotional wounds or skin wounds, again, however you want to see it. So they're already full of them because of how society is making us go through it, because we need to feel accepted by everybody that's around us. And once we let go of that, that's when you're letting go of fear. Okay. Later on in the book, it talks about how to fix it, how to think about I guess fixing it. But in this particular chapter, it's just talking about the wounds, and I like the fact that it makes the wound and the fear connect, because it truly is just a mentality, being fearful. Once you let go of that, it changes your whole life and changes your perspective. When we don't care about what others are saying, when we don't care about what others are thinking about us, or when we don't have to do what others want us to do, one of the things that I really liked and I wanted to connect with, things that we go through in life is for example, teenagers. They what do teenagers usually do in order to bond with other people? Is they start getting into drugs, they start getting into alcohol or gangs or anything like that is gonna make them be accepted by the group of people that they're hanging out with. It happens with teenagers all the time. That's why I'm saying teenagers. The teenage year is probably the worst years, because they're tough. Not that they're horrible. They're tough to deal with, because that's when we really want to be accepted by others. Because at that point, fear is already within us completely. And it's tough for a teenager as well. But then you think about it, like for example, when you go to college and you major in a thing that you don't want to major, and you're only doing it because your parents want you to do it, or because somebody told you that you have to do it. Maybe a teacher told you that you have to do this. Maybe you're really good at math and you were told that you have to be an engineer. I mean, and if that's not what you want to do, but you have to prove it to somebody else, now you're living in a world of fear. And that's kind of what the book talks about. I mean, that ideology about the college major. I think it really connected with me as well, and it connects with everybody, because at some point, especially when you're in college, I think there's few people that know what they want to do, but a lot of people go to college and they have no idea what they're gonna major in. So they start asking people, and they want to get the acceptance of the people that surround them, their friends, their families, and they tell them, well, you probably should be majoring in this. And then they think about it, and it's like, well, I don't really want to do that. I don't, So why would you be putting yourself through a situation where you're going to be going through, a major that you don't want to do, and then you're going to be unhappy when you get a job, So the point is to let go of everything that people around you pretty much tell you to do, so that you can feel accepted. I mean, it's good to ask for advice. It's good to ask for other points of views. That way it grows your own. But at the end of the day, you should be doing what makes you happy, because then you're not going to be living in a world of love. You're not going to love yourself if you don't love the job that you're at. You're not going to love yourself if you're not at the college that you want to be, or you're not majoring what you want to do. You're not going to love yourself, and then you're going to start projecting that to everybody else. It's also the same for colleges. If you want to go to a college, or if you don't want to go to a college because I don't know, you just want to leave the state, then do that. Or if you do want to go to a college, and people tell you, no, you probably shouldn't, you shouldn't go to that college, it's kind of bad. Well, at that point, like, what does it really matter? It's what you want to do. Okay, so that's kind of what the book talks about. It does talk about how we create different personalities within ourselves in order to be accepted through other people, since I'm talking about being accepted, which is very, very true. We create a different personality when we're with our family, with our parents, and then when you're with your friends, you're completely different. You're not exactly the same. And I'm talking about most people. I'm not talking about everybody does this. But the majority of us, we end up getting or creating different personalities when you're with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, when you're with your family, your parents, your mom, your dad, even with your sister or your brother, or whoever you're in that's family. You tend to change your personality when you're with different types of people. Same with when you're trying to get into a relationship, you have a certain personality, and then it changes because you want to adjust it to her personality or his personality. And at this point now, you're basically just lying to each other, because it's not who you are. And again, it covers a lot of points in just one chapter. So I highly encourage you guys, if you want to read this book. Again, it's The Mastery of Love. It pretty much looks the same. I know I said I have the Spanish version, but it pretty much looks the same, the cover, everything. If you want to read it, again, this is my pretty much first video before the one where I'm actually talking about doing my channel. So I'm obviously not getting any money through this. I just want to talk about things that I've been reading and like. So I really hope you guys enjoy listening to this as well. Maybe it changes your perspective as well, the way you did. Or maybe you read the book, or you want to read the book, or you end up reading the book and it's a completely different view than what I saw. If that's the case, why don't you let me know in the comments? Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if it resonated with you in a very different way. I'd like to hear it, because maybe I missed something, or maybe you missed something, and you want to tell me how I was able to get you to see it in a different way as well. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Like I said, subscribe to the channel. It's brand new. I'm gonna start throwing in videos like this. I'm gonna talk about another chapter in a future video. Another chapter that also resonated with me, that changed the way I see things. But for now, keep loving yourself. If you're not doing that, then highly suggest you start reading books that will help you get there. Because, I mean, you truly do project who you are. It's not about who you think you are, or you want people to think you are. It's about who you truly are inside, because that's exactly what you're going to project to people. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next one.